Hello and welcome. So I went into the show We Are Lady Parts with extremely high expectations because I loved the trailer and the first episode alone has already exceeded my expectations. In case you don't know, I make these stream it or leave it videos based on just the first episode of every show because there are so many shows and this is just my way of prioritizing. The show itself doesn't have to be prestigious or even really good. It just has to pique my interest enough in the first episode to make me want to watch it more. And if it doesn't, I don't go any further than watching that first episode. I just move on. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about the first episode. This is a British show, by the way, and I'll share my thoughts later on in the video. Meet Amina, a 26-year-old Muslim woman who is finishing her PhD in microbiology, and she also teaches children guitar lessons on the side for charity. Right now, in this very first scene, she's with her parents, meeting a potential suitor for an arranged marriage. Now, Amina has a fascinating imagination, and she's kind of awkward, she's funny, so the fact that we get to be in her head as she narrates these life events is already a lot of fun. So we get this cringy and funny situation where her parents are really trying to impress the parents of her suitor who seem less than impressed by her. They think that her clothes are too bright, they're not impressed by the fact that she plays guitar, and her parents are apologizing for her skin that might not look great that day, and they're oversharing as meddling parents often do. There's a comedy element to all of this though. Her parents are adorable, open, and very loving. I haven't watched any more, so I don't have any spoilers, but I did get the sense that if Amina eventually does decide not to get married or she doesn't want to be in an arranged marriage, that her parents would come round to it. So we see that Amina is quite behind in the whole settling down thing, as all of her friends are either already married or about to be. She's feeling a bit hopeless, but I also, again, get the sense that deep down she doesn't really mind, but she might come to realize that later on in the show. She is on the marriage app though, so for now at least, according to her, this is something that she wants. Her best friend Noor in this episode just got engaged and points out to her that her passion for the guitar is not going to help her find a husband. Meanwhile, across town, we meet the band We Are Lady Parts, a Muslim all-woman punk band, and they're having a practice session. They sound phenomenal and they kind of remind me of the Runaways. By the way, I checked and their music is on Spotify. It's really good. The members of the band are Syra. She's the lead vocalist and guitarist. She works in a butcher shop as her day job and she writes a lot of their songs. Apparently a lot of the inspiration does come from her day job. Then there's Aisha, the drummer and Uber driver, who doesn't have time for mouthy customers, and her cranky interactions with them are really funny. We have Momtaz, the band manager. She works in a cheap lingerie store and has a mysterious past. There are rumors that she might have once been married to a sheikh, and she might have done time for arson, but nobody knows for sure. And then we have Bishma, the bassist and cartoonist. She's also a mother, and one of her cartoons is described by her as a group of women who become homicidal maniacs when they're on their periods, and it's Handmaid's Tale meets Rugrats, she says to her horrified potential customers. So the band decides that they need a solo guitarist and they start putting out flyers for auditions that are going to take place in the butcher shop. The auditions go fairly poorly, and honestly there's just one audition and things aren't looking great. Back to Amina, she's out for a walk one day when she sees her uni crush Isan walking in her direction. She secretly swoons as he hands her a pamphlet and she thinks this is some kind of sign. Of course the pamphlet that she's holding in her hand is advertising the auditions for a guitarist for We Are Lady Parts, and she rushes over to the butcher shop not to audition but to find out where Isan went. We also find out at this point that Isan is actually Aisha's brother, and she roped him into handing out pamphlets hoping he might motivate some potentially talented woman to show up to the audition, because Isan, and this is my opinion as well, he's a dreamboat. Saiba recognizes Amina from their old school days and she knows that Amina can play the guitar, but that Amina had an embarrassing incident on stage during a performance. Of course the band hands her a guitar and wants to hear her play, but Amina's reluctant and she tells them that she only teaches now, she doesn't perform because it induces vomiting and diarrhea, something her parents also share with her suitor's family, by the way, in the beginning. So the community center where Amina gives guitar lessons is having a fundraiser and her students are getting ready to put on a performance. Isan is also at the community center, by the way. He sells handmade soaps there. The band members also managed to track Amina down to the center and they're determined to convince her to join their band. Amina, meanwhile, is busy psyching her students up for their performance, but at the last minute the soloist gets too nervous and drops out, and in order to save the performance, Amina decides to take over, hidden in the sidelines, but the band is onto her. They know that it's her playing. Eventually it's revealed that it's her, and because of the aforementioned performance anxiety issues, she ends up chundering into a bucket in front of everybody. And yeah, that's the first episode of We Are Lady Parts. I guess you know my thoughts by now. Definitely stream it. Amina is a wholesome, smart, kind of awkward, talented protagonist. She's got a lot going for her. She's also a romantic and she's perfect. All of the women in the band are also talented. They're cool. They have pretty fascinating backstories of their own. And obviously, in terms of representation, these women are feminist and they're Muslims, and you see them on their prayer mats at one point as well. So yeah, fantastic first episode. I can't wait to watch the rest. And yeah, share your thoughts if you've seen it. And thank you for watching.